Well, hello and welcome back to the Shallow Proclamation with myself, Thomas,
Paul.
and we're watching Inferno Part 7, the finale. This has
Yeah.
been a great, the finale of Season 7 as well. So this has been a great story, hasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot going on. Parallel universe, creatures, Earth blowing up. It's good stuff, isn't it?
It's good drama.
Good, clean Doctor Who.
Clean fun. Should say, because this is the last episode of the season, do put your comments,
Oh, yes,
questions for the Season 7 review down below or on the Discord server. Do come and join us there if you haven't already. The link's in the description. But we'll do a live review of Season 7 at some point soon, once this is out, and we'll answer your questions you might have about the season, so put them down below.
Yes, I'll make a thread for Season 7 questions if there isn't one already.
Nice.
Ooh.
If he makes one at this stage, it could be a Lulu.
Greg.
Could be a what? A Lulu?
A Lulu? I've never heard that phrase.
Well, you know you make me wanna shout. Da, 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 da.
Professor!
Is that you talking again? Oh no, high pitched whining. Sorry.
Oh, very good.
Ah,
I love how angry this guy gets.
Greg!
very worked up.
Serious,
It's
aren't
old
you?
Greg.
I'm serious. If I can't do anything else, at least I can save my own neck.
Yeah.
Doctor?
Number two. Number two.
needs
I'm
a toilet.
quite blown.
Oh.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Number two.
Output pipe blown.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous, number two.
Output quite blown.
More pipes blowing.
Just this minute happened.
Oh, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Only one thing.
There's only one thing to do, Paul.
Reverse. Reverse all systems.
You don't want to do that.
Reverse all systems.
That's the last thing you want to do.
Reverse all systems.
Delivery.
Very.
He knew about the leak.
Did it?
Could he look at him? He's still in a coma.
Doctor, can you hear me? Doctor? Doctor? Keep an eye on him, Brigadier.
Did you know about the leak, Paul? He's gone.
Oh dear. Ooh, very dangerous, number two. Oh.
170.
Beats per minute.
Yes, both ticking away quite nicely.
Ooh, 2 hearts. Wait, 170 is quite a lot, isn't it?
That's obscenely fast.
Is that
Given that
added
my-
both together, or
Well, that's a good question. Given that my resting heart rate, he's definitely not resting. My resting heart rate is about 53. So
really? Wow.
Liz. Terrible thing.
I'd be lucky to get up to 170 if I was working out full blown. Like,
Wasn't this Earth? And
3 times it. He's just the most hyperactive guy.
I didn't go.
Yes, a coma.
Yes, of course, of course.
Oh, that would be an interesting fan theory, wouldn't it? If this has actually all just been a dream. I mean, I don't like that interpretation necessarily, but fire extinguisher. Oh, it just keeps going, doesn't it? The tension.
Minus 1 minute, 0 seconds, and counting. Final countdown commences now.
diddle-da, diddle-da-da.
50 seconds.
Proper screwdriver there.
Down and drilling stopped at minus 34.
Oh, I thought they were going to take it much closer.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor, you're not still tinkering with this machine after all the trouble it's caused us?
The trouble it's caused you.
Doctor, if you hadn't chosen such a crucial moment to disappear, this whole business might have been cleared up a great deal sooner.
Well, he did try to warn everybody, Brigadier.
And a fat lot of notice you all took.
So you went gallivanting off in a fit of pique.
Brigadier, there are times when you strongly remind me of your other self.
Huh.
I shall leave at once.
In TARDIS console.
Naturally.
Oh, but Doctor, you can't.
The work that we did today, the TARDIS console is now fully operational.
I seem to have heard that before.
Goodbye, Liz. I shall miss you, my dear. But I've had about all I can stand of this pompous, self-opinionated idiot here.
Brutal.
Now see what you've done.
Well, I didn't know he'd go off like that. The man's so infernally touchy.
Well, I shall be most interested to see how you get on without him, Brigadier.
May I remind you, Miss Shaw, that you're still a serving member of UNIT. I don't entirely care for your tone.
Don't much care for yours either. No wonder the Doctor cleared off.
Welcome back.
Where did you go?
A few seconds forward in time, and a few hundred yards due east in space.
The rubbish tip?
The rubbish tip.
Oh, dear.
Brigadier, my dear fella, I wonder whether I could borrow a couple of your stalwart chaps to give me a hand in bringing the TARDIS back. It's landed in rather an inaccessible position.
Pompous, self-opinionated idiot, I believe you said, Doctor.
Yes, well, we don't want to bear a grudge for a few hasty words, do we? No, not after all the years that we've worked together. Now, come along, my dear fella. Put on a smile. Let's remember.
Nice. Oh, very good. Now, I was hoping to see the TARDIS, like, at the end, just because in my mind that would have been a really nice kind of way to finish the season. But that interaction was really nice, and you've got the sense that the TARDIS is going to be working the next time. Yeah, that might be my highlight, actually. I love that exchange at the end. Brigadier, you're really starting to remind me of your other self. And
Yeah,
then
it's
the
a brilliant
Doctor's kind of
bit of
humbled,
comedy.
isn't he? But yeah, pompous old idiot, opinionated idiot, I believe. He said. Well, we shouldn't let a few hasty words cause a grudge, shall we?
Yeah, Nicholas Courtney's delivery of that line is so perfect. Pompous, self-opinionated.
Yes,
I believe you said.
almost like Snape,
so-
isn't it?
Yes,
Have
it's a
our
bit like
very
that.
own celebrity,
Celebrity.
Mr. Potter. Yeah, quality stuff.
Well, there we are. That is, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I've not written much down, actually, because I was just enjoying it. I mean, yeah, I enjoyed that little bit at the end there. Yeah, it's a great conclusion to the whole story. And obviously, we got the cliffhanger at the end of the last episode, and it's kind of quite abrupt, you know, because obviously the Doctor just ends up back in our universe, and the story continues, really. And we don't get any more of the other universe. Obviously, the other universe is ending. And, you know, you said at the end of the last episode, oh, you know, it looks like it's all over for them, but maybe who knows what will happen in the next episode. But of course, the reality is that world dies, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, that's one of the things we've said it before about Inferno, because you've got that parallel universe, you can do the thing, you can have the massive catastrophe actually happen in a way you can't in this. You know, if the threat is, you know, you're thinking, oh my goodness, what's going to happen when this thing happens? Of course, in most stories, you can't have the terrible disaster like that really befall them, because that would be the end of all things. There's no coming back. So
And
to have
that's
it
the
in the parallel
Doctor's-
universe.
Yes, no, exactly, and that's the Doctor's point when he does the line about free will, isn't it? That he
not an
has
illusion.
seen the fate, and it acts as a warning, and now it can be avoided. They can learn from him going to that reality. I mean, he had already been learning; he had already been warning them, so it wasn't like he learnt from the alternate. You know, but I guess he did learn from going to the alternate timeline just how bad it was going to be. And you get the sense of urgency when he comes back, like, gotta shut it down now.
Yeah, and it's a horrifying, like the end of episode 6 into episode 7. I mean, we didn't talk about it hugely at the end of episode 6 because we were waiting to see the resolution, but it is a horrifying end. You know, a disaster that's planet wide. That, you know, with the lava coming towards them, where those people, you know, what happens to Liz and Greg and the brigade leader and, you know, in that hut at the end there is ultimately, of course, they just get consumed by lava.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty horrifying, and you can't run from that disaster. There's no safe place to go.
Yeah. I love the
Planet
shot
is
where the
ending.
camera moved through the door and then just lava filled the screen.
Yeah,
Dong, 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 dong.
but also you saying about the Doctor saying so free will
Yeah.
isn't an illusion and stuff, and the learning thing. It's another good example, I think, of how this era has kind of touched on issues without putting things in your face. Like the idea that you can learn. So this. I mean, I don't know exactly what was going on in the 70s or end of the 60s and 70s, where that would have made some of this more topical.
Right.
But this idea of the industry driving forward, going to great and great lengths, drilling to greater depths, unleashing forces of nature and causing great damage to the planet in the process. There's a sense there of of a message about not messing with certain things, but again, it's not an overt you can just watch that and you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it as a story. It's a disaster movie type story, isn't it? But you can equally imagine, if you were sitting there watching it at the time, you might be able to connect that to more topical things going on in the world, and in the news, and realize maybe there's a message in there. But again, it's handled well. It's not just kind of someone turns to the screen and basically delivers you a message about it.
Yeah. Right, fam. So this is why we've got to pick up our plastic forks from the beach. Yeah.
Not naming any names, but
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. The hubris of the industry. Yeah, and it takes the outsider who's kind of denounced as a madman who's genuinely trying to warn them about it, and they just don't listen. Yeah, even the brigadier unit would have probably just kept drilling, wouldn't they? Like they weren't gonna shut it down without the Doctor's intervention.
well, no, seemingly not. So
You don't get that sense. It would have been too late, even in the main universe. So yeah, no, fascinating stuff.
and yeah, it's. I was pondering whether I should sort of tell you this until we get into the next season. But I mean, I suppose by the time we get into the next season, things will just have we'll be into it and stuff. But that's actually the last time we see Liz.
Right, I was wondering that actually because he says goodbye, and then I kind of I was kind of wondering at that point. Oh, is that the goodbye?
Well, so obviously, at the end there, he thinks he's going to disappear off anyway, but then he doesn't. But actually, Caroline John, the character, the actress of Liz, I believe she was pregnant at the end of the season, or as the new season was coming around, and so actually she was unable to continue. But also, they made a decision that the production team decided that they didn't think having a character who was as scientific as her worked well, because they felt she was too capable, almost too knowledgeable, I think was the thought, and so she was sort of written out as well. So she's a funny one for me, Liz, because she only appears in those 4 stories really, and in essence she never travels in the TARDIS, never goes anywhere. But she is still a companion. And actually, I've quite enjoyed her through the season.
Yeah,
in the bits she's had to do, I thought I said a few times, I think it was during the Ambassadors of Death, she is very capable, and that was quite a good thing. But obviously, that's not what they wanted going forward. So
that's really interesting. Because I can see the case being made in both directions. I quite like her. Well, Zoe was a competent companion, wasn't she?
Yeah,
very scientifically minded. So I think it works well at times, but I do also get the sense that if the companion is the audience's way in to the Doctor's crazy lifestyle, it does help if the companion is more of an everyman or an everywoman. Like, so of course, when they reboot it, Rose Tyler is like, you know, a lady working in a shop, pretty
Yeah.
ordinary life. That feels to me like more of the essence of a Doctor Who companion, is like someone I could. But I suppose, you know, we do know people like Liz in the real world, but
Yeah,
I
of
suppose
course.
that's a kind of very high flying career person that is maybe not the most of us audience members wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, but it's I you know, so I was umming and ahhing about mentioning it now or waiting until the next season started, because at the next season it'll just you know, I'm not even sure it gets a mention. I mean, there might be a throwaway line,
Right.
but so there's no leaving, there's no sort of leaving scene for Liz or anything like that. It's just the end of Inferno. So in a sense, it finishes with her on the screen. She finishes, you know, laughing. That's
Yeah.
it. But there isn't a proper goodbye. But still, somehow, it manages to be better than Dodo's goodbye. So
She's having a lovely time, and she sends all her love.
yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, I think the classic era never really does season finales particularly. But if you were going to have a story as a finale for your season, I think Inferno is pretty much up there as a great choice for that.
It's a very
whether that's-
strong story. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's more by accident than by design, perhaps. But yeah, I think it's definitely, yeah, like you say, a super strong one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. We can just discuss the season more
Yeah.
in the season 7 review. So, like we've said before, do leave. What we'll do is we'll do a live review of season 7 at some point. We'll let you know when that's going to be, and we will answer your questions. So put questions down in the comments here, or come on our Discord server, which is links in the description. Post your comments there and your questions there for season 7. We'd love to answer those, and we'll just do a review of it. But we'll talk more about it then. But we've finished our first season of Pertwee
Yeah.
already, which, you know, feels like it's gone quite quickly, I suppose, just because there's only 4 stories, even though they're quite long. But
Whipped by. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, season-wise, we're a quarter of the way through the classic era, aren't we? But we're probably more in time-wise, given that the first few seasons were like 40 episodes.
yeah, probably. We've broken the back of it at least.
Yeah.
I think as well, like what's, you know, when I think about classic Doctor Who as a whole thing, like the black and white era feels like very much its own thing to me. Firstly, because it's in black and white, so it looks different. But I think as well, what we're beginning to see in this season is, or what I should say is, what when you think about the previous seasons we've had, many of those felt like sort of they could have been like a stage play, couldn't they? Being played
Yeah.
out in front of you. Whereas now it's beginning to feel a bit more like a TV show with scenes and bits like that.
Yeah.
You know,
They feel like real locations, and the camera's looking at multiple ways around rather than just sort of looking into a doll's house type thing.
Yeah. So, you know, we've certainly come through one part of the show, in my mind at least, and now we're into a different thing. Obviously, this season has been very different. I think next season is a kind of slightly soft reboot again. So it will change, but with, you know, a lot of the familiar things as well. So yeah, it'd be good to kind of think more about that when we come together for the live review. And if you guys have got questions about that, things that you think might prompt good discussion, chuck the questions to us and we will do our best to answer those. And we always have good fun chatting to you guys on there as well. Yeah. Anything you
Amazing.
want to add, Thomas?
I don't think so. I think you've done a great job of summarising.
Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed season 7. We'll be back for, well, I mean, I was going to say we'll be back for season 8 soon, but the reality is that literally this weekend, season 1 of Shooting Atwood begins, so we might have a bit of a break whilst we watch through those. We'll keep watching the classic series, but it might be a while until you get season 8. But until then, thanks very much for watching, and yeah, look after yourselves. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
No one